A correct answer without a source can be more dangerous than a wrong one.
Because in a RAG system, a fluent answer gets trusted fast. If people cannot trace where it came from, they cannot judge whether it is current, scoped, or even talking about the same thing they asked.
So this is not about adding little footnotes to make the UI look smart.
Right. It is about verification. Sources tell you what the model actually used, what it ignored, and whether the answer is supported by the retrieved evidence, instead of just sounding plausible.
Give me the real failure mode. The answer is technically correct. Why is that still a problem?
Imagine an internal support bot. An engineer asks, "Can customers export audit logs from the admin panel?" The bot says yes. That was true last quarter, but the product changed. The feature moved behind an enterprise tier, and the source docs in the index are mixed across versions. The sentence yes is not enough. The source reveals whether that answer came from the current pricing page, an old release note, or a random FAQ clone.
And if the source is missing, the team celebrates a win that is actually a trap.
Exactly. Correct by accident is fragile. If you cannot inspect the support, you cannot tell the difference between grounded reasoning and lucky guessing. That matters the minute the question gets nuanced, regulated, or expensive.
So where does this show up in a real RAG system, not the polished demo?
It shows up when retrieval returns overlapping chunks, stale chunks, and near duplicates. Then generation compresses them into one consonant answer. Users see one sentence. Under the hood, 3 documents disagree, and the model picked the easiest wording.
That is a power shift. The model becomes the editor, and nobody sees the edits.
Yes, and the winners are systems that expose evidence cleanly. The losers are teams who optimize answer rate while hiding provenance. They ship something that looks useful until a customer asks, "Says who?"
Before people rush to fix it with more prompts, what should they inspect first?
Start before generation. Inspect the retrieved set. Are the top results actually relevant? Are they from the right corpus, version, tenant, language, and access scope? If the evidence pool is wrong, no prompt will rescue it reliably.
So do not blame the model before checking what you fed it.
Exactly. Then inspect chunking. If one chunk splits the key sentence from its qualifiers, the answer may keep the headline and drop the condition. For example, a policy says refunds are allowed within 30 days for annual plans purchased direct. If your chunk boundary cuts off purchase direct, the bot will happily tell every customer they qualify.
That is how a correct fragment becomes an operational bug.
And next, inspect ranking. If stale docs consistently outrank current docs because they are longer, denser, or keyword-heavy, your system will keep answering from the wrong era. Sources are how you catch that pattern, instead of arguing about prompt wording for a week.
What about the temptation to overdo it? 10 citations per sentence, tiny spans, lots of numbers?
That is citation theater. More markers do not mean more truth. And fake precision is just as bad, like implying one exact sentence proves a broad operational claim when the source only partially supports it. The goal is not decorative attribution. The goal is inspectable support.
So a good source is not there to flatter the answer.
Yes, a source should let a user answer 3 questions fast. Where did this come from? Does that source actually support the claim? And is it the right source for this context?
Give me one practical example a programmer can use tomorrow.
Take a docs assistant for an API. Ask, does endpoint X support idempotency keys? Do not just evaluate whether the final answer is yes or no. Log the top retrieved chunks, their document IDs, titles, timestamps, and a short excerpt. Then compare the answer to the highest ranked supporting chunk. If the answer is right, but the retrieved support is weak, stale, or indirect, mark it as unsafe. That tells you whether to fix indexing, chunking, ranking, or document hygiene.
So, the practical move is to debug the evidence path, not just the final string.
Exactly. Treat source quality as part of correctness. In RAG, answer quality is a pipeline property. Retrieval decides what can be justified. Generation only decides how it sounds.
And when teams skip that, they get fooled by benchmark wins that do not survive production traffic.
Because production questions are messy. They involve dates, permissions, exceptions, and conflicting docs. Sources expose those seams. Without them, your system can be right for the wrong reason, and that is a strategic liability.
So, the real standard is not, did the bot answer? It is, can the answer survive inspection?
Yes. In a real RAG system, trust is not earned when the answer sounds correct. Trust is earned when the evidence makes the answer hard to argue with.